Imagine for a moment that you have been pulled backstage in the middle of a magnificent theater production. Suddenly, the magic is gone. You see the ropes. You see the pulleys. You see that the enchanted forest is just painted cardboard. And having seen it, you cannot unsee it. You cannot return to your seat in the audience and believe in the drama like everyone else. This is exactly what has happened to you. That numbness you feel, that strange detachment where familiar people and routines feel like bad acting in a script you've read too many times, it isn't clinical depression, and you are not broken. You are simply an actor who has realized, halfway through the second act, that the play isn't real. You have stumbled off the stage and into the truth. And while it feels empty right now, I want you to listen closely. This emptiness is not the end of your life. It is the beginning. Listen closely, because here lies a paradox you must understand. You are not broken. You are not clinically depressed. You have not taken a wrong turn. This numbness, this feeling of being a ghost in your own life, is not a sign of failure. It is the altitude. You have climbed past illusions, stripped away layers of self-deception, yet you have not yet built a new scaffold to replace them. You are standing between worlds. Most people never reach this point. When they do, they panic. They try to run back, to return to the world of distraction, attachment, and expectation. They clutch desperately at what no longer holds meaning, forcing themselves to care about things they have outgrown. But you cannot go back. The sweater has been unraveled, thread by thread. You cannot knit it together with the same wool. And perhaps this is the most important realization of all. It is not the end. What if this silence, this emptiness, is not the death of your emotional life, but the winter before spring? What if the reason reality feels cold and distant is precisely because you are attempting to hold on to a version of reality that never truly existed? You feel you are at the end of the road, and yet in truth, you are just at the gate, the threshold. This is the void, the liminal space between the world you have shed and the world you are yet to inhabit. It is strange and beautiful. It is terrifying and tender. Here, in this emptiness, the soul can breathe freely, away from the clamor of expectation and the masks of performance. And here, for the first time, you might notice a curious sensation. The world no longer demands you measure yourself against it. For a moment, the script falls away, and you are left with only the raw presence of being. This is the arrival at the void. It is not a place of despair, though it may feel like one. It is not a destination, though it feels like the end of the map. It is the quiet moment before creation, the silence before the music begins again. It is the point at which the seeker realizes, I have nothing to prove. I have nowhere to arrive. And in this stillness, the first taste of freedom whispers through. It is here, in this liminal space, that the final stage of spiritual awakening begins, not with fireworks, not with ecstatic revelation, but with the subtle, profound awareness that you are already here. You are already enough. And perhaps, for the first time, you can see that all of your searching, all of your striving, has led you not to some distant summit, but to this very room, this very breath, this very moment. And if you let yourself rest here, even for a few seconds, you may notice that the fear of emptiness is itself a door. A door that once crossed does not vanish in triumph or joy, but opens endlessly into the landscape of the self unbound, where the final awakening waits not as a spectacle, but as a quiet, tender, ever-present truth. Now that you have arrived at the void, you begin to notice the world in a new light. It is still the same world, yet somehow entirely different. People move around like actors on a stage, their gestures rehearsed, their expressions painted. You watch a friend become angry over a trivial slight, a colleague chase a promotion as though it were life itself, a lover cling to expectations like a lifeline. And in seeing all this, something shifts. You cannot take it seriously. You cannot force yourself to play the game as you once did. It is a strange sensation, this awareness. The world has not changed, only your perception of it. You see the scripts, the cues, the lines memorized by everyone around you, the social contracts, the rituals of approval, the endless pursuit of status, all appear as a grand masquerade. And you, having glimpsed behind the mask, feel a curious alienation. You are surrounded by people committed to a play whose plot you have already read. They are glued to their roles, yet you cannot return to pretending. The paradox is this: the very knowledge that frees you also isolates you. You are no longer drawn into the illusions that once guided your desires, and because of this, you may feel like a stranger at a very loud party. You watch others laugh, struggle, compete, and worry, and a faint sense of absurdity rises within you. It is not disdain, not pity, not judgment, it is recognition. You recognize the machinery behind the drama, the levers that pull the strings, and it becomes impossible to fully immerse yourself in the performance. And yet, here is where most seekers falter. They panic at this detachment. They say to themselves, I must rejoin the play. I must force myself to care. They try to glue the mask back onto their face. They try to unsee what they have already seen. But you cannot undo sight. You cannot return to ignorance once the veil has lifted. What then are you to do? How do you move in a world that seems both real and unreal at the same time? The answer is subtle, almost imperceptible. You observe. You watch the dance without demanding to lead it. You notice the anger, the ambition, the obsession, and yet you are not pulled into them. You are like a calm river, flowing past the rushing rapids without being dragged under. This is the wisdom of detachment. It is not indifference, nor is it coldness. It is a recognition that the world is not threatening, that it does not require your constant engagement to be real. The masks, the roles, the illusions, they exist, but they do not bind you. You are not a participant in the same sense you once were. You are the witness, the audience, the quiet observer who sees the play and knows it is both real and unreal. Consider this. Society teaches us that we are defined by the roles we play. If you succeed, you are valuable. If you fail, you are flawed. If you are admired, you exist. If you are ignored, you vanish. And yet, when you step outside of this belief, When you allow yourself to see the theater for what it is, you realize the rules of the game were never yours to enforce. The applause, the recognition, the fear of shame, they all belong to the actors, not the witness. You may feel a strange freedom, but also a subtle loneliness. It is not a loneliness of isolation, but a solitude of perception. You have stepped beyond collective hypnosis, and there is a clarity that comes with seeing through the masquerade. You notice the absurdity of the endless striving, the futility of chasing approval, the quiet despair in the earnestness of ambition. And in that noticing, you begin to laugh not at others, but at the cosmic joke that we all take so seriously. There is a quiet power in this. You are no longer bound to perform. You no longer need to seek validation, chase meaning, or force yourself to feel things that no longer resonate. You have glimpsed the machinery, and the moment you stop struggling against it, the machinery stops pulling you. The tension dissolves. You feel lighter, freer, more alive, not because the world has changed, but because your relationship to it has. And here is the secret. The masks themselves are not evil. The roles are not mistakes. They are necessary, beautiful, and human. They are the dance in which everyone participates, the theater in which life unfolds. Your detachment is not a rejection, but an acknowledgement. You can watch with compassion, understanding, and even delight. The absurdity of life is also its playfulness. And when you see the masks for what they are, you can step into the dance on your own terms. This is the point where the seeker begins to understand the first great paradox of awakening. Freedom does not require the world to change. The world remains a stage. Actors play their parts. Chaos continues. Yet you, having glimpsed the mechanism, can move with it rather than against it. You are no longer trapped by expectation, no longer anxious over outcomes, no longer a prisoner of the scripts. You have become something else, the conscious witness, the river flowing through the theater of life, observing the masquerade without being consumed by it. And as you stand there, observing, something subtle shifts. The fear of detachment begins to fade. The initial sense of alienation softens into clarity. You begin to see that the world is not lacking, the people are not wrong, and the roles are not failures. They are simply part of the divine improvisation of life. Your task is not to fix, to rescue, or to perform, but to watch, to notice, and to flow. And in that flow, a new rhythm emerges. You are no longer an actor bound by the script. You are a participant in a larger dance, alive, aware, and free. Now, having seen the masquerade for what it is, the next veil begins to fall. The world has become quieter, not because noise has ceased, but because your identification with it has loosened. You begin to notice that the I you once clutched so tightly, your thoughts, your roles, your stories, is not the fixed point you imagined. It is a shape, a pattern, a process in motion, not a solid statue to be defended. For years, you believed you were a little pilot inside your own head, steering a fragile vessel through the chaos of life. You thought the mind was the captain, the body the vehicle, and the world a landscape to conquer. But now the illusion dissolves. You realize you are not in here looking out. You are the movement itself. You are the river, the wind, the sun shining through the leaves. The boundaries you once relied on between self and other, inside and outside, are porous, fluid, more dense than architecture. It is unsettling at first. To shed identity is to feel unmoored, as though the earth beneath you is no longer solid. The fear arises naturally. Who am I if not this? Who am I if I am not the sum of my achievements, my memories, my habits? Who am I if I am no longer the person who struggles, worries, strives, and protects? This fear is the chrysalis cracking. It is the necessary tremor before emergence. Think of a tree in winter. Its branches are bare, its life force hidden beneath the bark. It seems dormant, lifeless, even vulnerable. Yet beneath the surface, sap stirs, waiting for the right time. So it is with you. The ego, the I you once relied upon, is not gone. It is transforming. Its solidity dissolves into fluidity. Its rigidity softens into motion. You are no longer a noun, you are a verb. You are not something to be controlled or perfected. You are a flow of energy, inseparable from the universe itself. And here is the paradox. The more you dissolve, the more complete you become. The mind screams, "I am losing myself." But in truth, it is the self that was never lost awakening to its full expanse. The fear, the alienation, the loneliness, they are symptoms of peeling away the old shell. You feel naked, soft, vulnerable, like a newly molted lobster left in the sun. You may wish to retreat, to reattach to the familiar masks, the old scripts, the borrowed identities. But the new self will not fit into the old world. The old scripts no longer resonate. This is the liminal stage where most seekers falter. They confuse vulnerability with weakness. They mistake detachment for loss. They panic at the absence of familiar anchors and try to reconstruct the illusion. But the lesson is subtle. Nothing has been taken from you. The world has not shifted. Only your perception has expanded. The I you thought was solid was always flowing, always impermanent, and now you can finally see it. Consider a whirlpool in a river. You can point at it, call it a shape, even touch the water swirling within it. But can you lift it, capture it, separate it from the river? No. It exists only as part of the larger movement. You are that whirlpool. Your body, your thoughts, your identity, they are patterns in the flow, not separate from the river itself. To grasp the whirlpool as if it were a fixed thing is to suffer. To move with it is to live. And as this understanding deepens, a remarkable clarity emerges. The desire to control, to manipulate, to grasp at permanence begins to fall away. Life is no longer a problem to solve or a mountain to climb. It is a dance in which you are both the music and the dancer. You do not move because you must. You move because movement is your nature. The pressure of the past, the fear of the future, the burden of expectations, all dissolve in the awareness of presence. Yet, paradoxically, life does not become stagnant. The river flows, the world continues, yet you are untouched. You feel the currents, you notice the eddies, you sense the turbulence, but you are not consumed. You are the river experiencing itself, aware of its own motion. This is the liberation hidden in the dissolution of self. You are both the wave and the ocean, both the storm and the sky that holds it. And now, in this spaciousness, something extraordinary appears. Compassion, not born of obligation, but of understanding. When the ego softens, judgment dissolves. You see others not as obstacles, threats, or mirrors to your inadequacies, but as fellow patterns in the same universal flow. Their anger, ambition, sorrow, and joy are no longer your chains. They are expressions of the same river that flows through you. You recognize that nothing is truly separate. This stage is not ecstatic, not dazzling, not dramatic. It is profoundly simple. There is a quiet joy in being, an effortless aliveness in noticing without clinging. You do not seek to fix, to correct, to rescue. You are witness and participant simultaneously. The fear of dissolution, the terror that I am vanishing, melts into the gentle realization that the self was never a solid thing to begin with. The ground was never taken out from under you. You simply stopped standing on illusions. And so, with the dissolution of the ego, the world begins to feel lighter. You no longer wrestle with life because you are not separate from it. You no longer chase happiness because happiness is already flowing through your being. You no longer cling to identity because identity was never meant to be grasped. You are free not in a way that escapes the world, but in a way that finally inhabits it fully, tenderly, without resistance. This is the preparation for the next revelation, the understanding that life is a cosmic game, that suffering and joy, confusion and clarity are all the playful improvisations of existence itself. But for now, in this moment, you are soft, vulnerable, yet unbreakable. You are the river, the whirlpool, the ocean in a drop. You are both nothing and everything, flowing without need, witnessing without judgment, moving without effort. And that is the dissolution of self, not annihilation, not emptiness, but the awakening to the endless, fluid, living wholeness that has always been here. Having glimpsed the flow, having felt the dissolution of the solid self, you begin to notice something extraordinary. The universe is playful, not careless, not random, but mischievous, curious, delighting in the dance of creation and perception. Everything you once feared, the confusion, the boredom, the anxiety, suddenly appears not as punishment, but as invitation. An invitation to the final act of awakening, to see life as a game, to join in without striving, without grasping, without expectation. Imagine for a moment that you could dream any dream you desired. You could sculpt the perfect life, filled with joy, success, and certainty. You could control every variable, orchestrate every encounter, guarantee every outcome. And after 1,000 lifetimes of perfection, you would grow bored. You would tire of the flawless, the expected, the predictable. And then, in a moment of playful rebellion, you would dream this life, the one you are living now, the life in which you forget you are the dreamer. This is the cosmic joke. The universe hides in plain sight. It plays hide and seek with itself, taking the form of you, the form of me, the form of every being in every event. Your confusion, your suffering, your sense of being lost, it is all part of the choreography. The universe is learning, discovering, delighting in the surprise of its own unfolding. And the paradox, the beautiful paradox, is that you are not separate from the game. You are both the seeker and the sought, the dreamer and the dreamed. The difficulty, of course, is that most of us take the game too seriously. We grip, we control, we panic. We forget that the rules were never ours to enforce. We believe that our suffering is a mistake, our mistakes a sign of failure, and our boredom a tragedy. And yet the universe is smiling quietly behind the scenes, whispering, "Relax. This is exactly how it should be." Herein lies the liberation, to stop trying to force meaning, to stop demanding certainty, to stop clutching at the illusion of permanence. Effortless participation, what the sages call wu wei, is not laziness. It is not apathy. It is the art of flowing with the pattern of life, aligning with its rhythm, yielding without surrendering to nihilism. It is the understanding that resistance creates suffering, and that ease creates space for life to express itself fully through you. You may notice the familiar tension arise. The mind asks, "But what if I miss something? What if I fail? What if life passes me by?" And the answer is simple, yet unsettling. You are not missing. Life is not a line to be measured, a mountain to be conquered, a prize to be earned. It is a melody. It is not a single note, but the unfolding of rhythm. You cannot reach the end because there is no end. You cannot hold the song in your hand, for it plays itself through the world, through you, through every atom of existence. Look at your own suffering, the moments of boredom or anxiety that once felt like proof of failure. They are not punishments. They are cues, invitations, gentle nudges from the universe, reminding you to stop taking the game too seriously. The numbness you feel is the space between notes, the silence that gives music its meaning. And if you can simply breathe through it, notice it, allow it, you find that life does not push back. It flows, unhurried, unpressured, endlessly generous. This is why surrender is not defeat. You are not relinquishing your life, you are aligning with it. You are learning to dance with the currents rather than wrestle them. You are realizing that every heartbreak, every mistake, every detour is part of the improvisation of existence. The tension is the game. The play is the teacher. The difficulty, the confusion, the absurdity, they are all part of the cosmic design, and they are all perfect just as they are. And here is another paradox. In letting go of control, you gain everything. In surrendering to the flow, you discover that abundance, joy, love, and insight arrive not as rewards, but as reflections of the alignment you already embody. When you are no longer grasping at life, life can move through you with clarity, elegance, and depth. You do not have to chase, manipulate, or force anything. You only need to notice, participate, and allow. Consider the smallest gestures, a friend's laugh, the sunlight hitting the floor, the breeze that shifts without asking permission. They are part of the game, delicate movements in a pattern too vast to see. And when you step lightly, when you allow yourself to be both witness and participant, you find that even the storms, the disruptions, the chaos, these are part of the music. They are not interruptions. They are accents, syncopations, the pauses that give life its rhythm. You may ask, but how do I live in this game while still navigating the demands of the world? The obligations, the work, the responsibilities. The answer is simple, though it requires courage. Live as the river moves. Attend to your obligations with presence, not attachment. Engage fully, but do not clutch. Act skillfully, but do not demand. Love deeply, but do not possess. Observe closely, but do not control. The game is not about winning, it is about dancing. The joy is in the movement itself, not in the outcome. And so the final teaching of this stage emerges. The universe is not testing you, punishing you, or withholding from you. It is playing with you. It is inviting you to join in the improvisation, to notice the absurdity, to float through the currents with curiosity, humor, and tenderness. Life is not a problem to solve. It is a game to play, a dance to inhabit, a melody to express. You are both player and music, actor and stage, question and answer. This is the essence of the cosmic game: to see through illusion, to release attachment, to surrender without losing yourself, and to find in every note, in every gesture, in every silent pause, the profound freedom that has always been yours. It is not something to achieve, it is something to be. And once you see the play, once you hear the music in the silence, you begin to participate with grace, with joy, and with wonder. And so after all the seeking, the unraveling, the dissolving, the surrendering, something almost embarrassing becomes clear. The final stage is not dramatic. It does not arrive with fireworks or revelations carved in gold. It does not announce itself. In fact, most people miss it precisely because it feels so ordinary. The final stage is relaxation. Not the kind you schedule on a calendar, not the kind you earn after working hard enough, but the deep, cellular relaxation of realizing that nothing is required of you, that there is no final version of yourself you are supposed to become, that the universe is not waiting for you to get it right before allowing you to belong. You may have expected awakening to feel like constant bliss, endless clarity, permanent peace, but that fantasy was part of the game. A carrot dangled in front of the mind to keep it chasing. And now, standing here, you see the joke. Awakening is not the absence of anxiety, boredom, or sadness. It is the end of the argument with them. The feelings still come, the heaviness still visits, the quiet numbness may drift in like fog on a cold morning. But something fundamental has shifted. You no longer ask, how do I get rid of this? You no longer assume something has gone wrong. You no longer panic when the clouds appear, because you finally recognize yourself as the sky, The sky does not chase the clouds away. It does not prefer sunshine to storms. It does not tense when darkness rolls in. It simply has space, infinite space. And in that space, everything is allowed to move exactly as it needs to. This is the final stage most never reach, not because it is difficult, but because it is too simple. The mind wants achievement, it wants progress, it wants milestones. But here there is nothing to earn, nothing to fix, nothing to transcend. There is only the quiet relief of stopping the search, stopping the self-improvement project, stopping the subtle belief that you are unfinished. You begin to notice how much effort you were using just to exist, how tightly you were holding your breath, how heavy the invisible bags were that you carried everywhere, the guilt, the expectations, the constant inner commentary. And one by one, they fall from your hands. Not because you forced them to, but because you saw you were never required to carry them in the first place. Life continues, of course. You still pay rent, you still show up to work, you still feel joy, irritation, desire, fatigue. But now it all happens inside a larger softness, a friendliness toward existence itself. You stop resisting the rhythm of your own humanity. This is where the wisdom of insecurity quietly reveals itself. There was never a solid ground to stand on. There was never a guaranteed outcome. And that was never a flaw. That was the dance. When you stop demanding certainty, life becomes intimate again. Not exciting in a dramatic sense, but alive in a subtle one. You notice the hum of the refrigerator at night, the way sunlight rests on the floor, the ordinary miracle of breathing without instruction. You realize you don't need to feel spiritual to be awake. You don't need insight to justify your existence. You don't need to understand the universe to belong to it. You already do. This is the great reversal. You thought awakening would make you special. Instead, it makes you ordinary. And in that ordinariness, something extraordinary opens. You rejoin life, not as a character trying to win, but as the space in which the story unfolds. The ego doesn't disappear, it relaxes. It becomes a tool instead of a tyrant. You still use your name, your role, your personality, but lightly, like a costume you can put on and take off. You play your part without forgetting it's a play. And when anxiety arises, you don't say, "I am anxious." You notice, anxiety is appearing. When boredom comes, you don't label the day a failure. You notice, boredom is passing through. The shift is small, almost linguistic, but it changes everything. The observer returns to its natural seat. The drama loses its grip. The weather is allowed to be weather. This is why the final stage is not ecstasy. It is trust. Trust in the process. Trust in the unfolding. Trust that the river knows where it is going without your supervision. You stop swimming against the current. You stop asking whether you are doing life correctly. You float. And in floating, you discover that the river was always carrying you. Nothing needs to be added to this moment. Nothing needs to be removed. Even the numbness you once feared turns out to be a kind of silence before the music resumes. A rest note, a pause. Don't rush it, don't analyze it. Don't turn it into another project. Sit with it. Look at the wall. Listen to the ordinary sounds around you. There is no secret waiting behind the next thought. There is no final answer coming later. What you were looking for has been quietly looking through your eyes this entire time. And perhaps the strangest realization of all gently lands here. You didn't awaken to escape the world. You awakened to return to it. Not as a seeker, not as a fixer, not as someone trying to get somewhere, but as life itself, momentarily shaped like you. So if something in you recognizes this, even faintly, don't rush to understand it. Let it settle. Let it breathe. Let it unfold in its own rhythm. And if you find yourself smiling for no reason, or feeling strangely relieved, or quietly amused by the whole thing, that's not an accident. That's the universe remembering itself. Right here, right now. If you were allowed to put down just one heavy burden today, a social mask, an expectation, or the pressure to succeed without any guilt, what would be the first thing to go? Write it down in the comments as a declaration of your own liberation.